If you're new to dipping your nails and want to find some easy designs to do, then I've got one for you today. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. We are doing really simple color blocking. I'm going to show you how I can do it with a shimmer dip powder and a glitter. It is so much easier than you think. So what you want to do if you have a base down on your nails of like builder gel or clear dip powder, you want to make sure that if you're using peel base over top of that, or even over top of your natural nails, you have one layer of dip base down over the entire nail and let that totally dry before you go and put the sticker on. If you're not using peel base, you don't have to worry about that. But if you are, doing the layer of dip base down before you apply the sticker is going to save your peel base from peeling up, and it works really well to do that. So I have the one layer of peel base down, and then I have a layer of dip base down over my entire nail. So once that was dry, I was able to take the pieces of this nail tape. It's like mini masking tape for nails. I absolutely love it. Comes in, I think, like a 2-pack. I'll make sure I leave that in the description. And you just apply it right to your nails. I wanted to do a diagonal color blocking on mine. So what I do then is I just focus on the one area. So I do the side that's not as covered, let's say, by the tape. So I do like the left side first because the tape is over the right side more. Now you can obviously like put it wherever you want. You can do little mini designs with this. I wanted to do something simple because a bunch of you have said like, hey, I'm new. I just want, some easy things to do when I want more than just a solid nail. So when I'm doing the color blocking, what I really try to focus on is keeping the liquids, one, nice and thin, and two, not getting the liquids over top of the tape. Now, I know a little bit will get over, it just happens, but it really, really helps that your dip doesn't get stuck over top of the tape. That's if you get too much stuck over top of the tape, when you go to take it off, it ends up messing up your color block line. So I did 2 layers of this gorgeous color from CN Designer Dips called Shimmer Babe. And once I pull off the tape, you can see that the line is so nice and straight. And I definitely try to take off the tape really slowly so I don't mess any of the color block line up. Then you can take some activator and apply it just to that area of your nail. The reason that you want to do that is because when you're doing your other side of the color block, then you're not going to get any of the color stuck onto the side that you just did. So on the other side of the color block, on the right side of the color block, I'm going to be doing a glitter. And what I don't like to happen when I color block is that any of the glitters would get into my shimmer or my solid that I have on the other side. So doing that little bit of activator right on the shimmer or the solid part of the color block will help seal that color in, because by the time I get to do the color blocking for the glitter, the activator has had enough time to dry. So this way, if any glitter gets on the other side of the color block, I just brush it right off. So that's something that has really, really helped me. I know everybody might not do it this way, but for somebody like me who's really messy, this way works so well. And look at this gorgeous color, Shimmer Babe. I am a huge fan of anything pink. If you've been watching my channel at all, you know that I love pink. I actually love all colors, but pink and black are like my favorite to wear. Anything like neutrally, even though I wear like all kinds of colors. Once you finish doing each layer of your nail, you always want to make sure you brush off the excess powder. I know some people use a fluffy nail brush, but I like to use a really stiff nail brush. This way I'm not leaving any excess on. I don't like my nails to be any thicker than they need to be. So I try to keep my layers really thin. It's better to have a higher number of thin layers than a lower number of thick layers. The lower number of thick layers tends to lead to lifting, chipping, and cracking. When I'm using dip liquids, I always do my last dip as clear dip powder. I know that everyone doesn't do that either, but there are some things that you'll find that just work for you that don't work for everybody. And for me, I like to really seal my colors in so that when I do any buffing or shaping or filing, I don't file off my beautiful color that I worked so hard for. And I do it on every kind of dip: solids, shimmers, flakes, foils, glitters, you name it. If I'm doing it with dip liquids, I'm using clear dip powder as my last dip. Then you can go through and you do your activator after you brushed off the excess clear. I always go over each nail with 2 passes of activator because I wanna make sure that I really have the activator soaked all the way through. Now I'm gonna jump into this gorgeous glitter called Jewel. I wanted something that like went with the Shimmer Babe, but wasn't like super chunky. I wanted a mini chunk or like a fine glitter, and this one worked out so beautifully. Something that I do when I'm dipping glitters, and this works for flakes and foils too, is I make sure that I lay my nail flat into the glitter. I pour it out into one of these dip cups. I absolutely love them because they're washable. And if you know me, I'm also really clumsy if you've seen any of my other videos. I used to use disposable cupcake liners, and while they're nice because you can just throw them out, I knocked them over all the time. These little dip cup liners work so much nicer for me because I'm not knocking them down. So when you're working on the other side of the color block, here are some tips that will really help you. You definitely want to make sure that the liquid on your brush is applied thinly. This way you have better control of it and it's not flooding all over the place. That's something that I definitely have learned doing color blocking was I would try to put the same amount of liquid on that I would to like do a full nail, and that doesn't work. You really want as minimal liquid as possible so you're not flooding it into your sidewalls and onto the other side of wherever you're color blocking. So I don't put any kind of like tape or anything on the side that I already color blocked. I just now go for it with the dip liquids, applying it where I need to. What I do as well, like let's say a little bit gets onto the other part of where I was color blocking, I take an orange wood stick like you saw me do and just try to, clean up anywhere that needs to be cleaned up. Like if any of the glitters accidentally got over the line, then I will quickly go in with the like cuticle pusher end of the orange wood stick and fix any of that up, like just, swipe them right off the side that's already been done and activated. And that's what's so nice about having one of your sides activated for doing color blocking, is because if you get a little bit on it, you have time to clean it off before it starts to dry because that activator is already hardened and dried that other side that you first did. And when I'm doing glitter on one side of the color block, I lay my nail flat just like I would for a full nail of glitter. It is so easy to do that when you're doing color blocking. So that's why I focus so much on making sure that my dip base is in the right spot. And that I'm not like flooding my cuticles. This way, when I go to lay my nail flat down into the glitter, it gives me this really nice color block. And it's one of the easier things that I've learned how to do. Once I first figured it out, I realized, okay, this isn't so bad. Like, I can totally do this. With all the nail stuff, like, you just have to practice. That was something that I really struggled with at the beginning. I would see all these gorgeous nails and all the Facebook groups I'm in, and, like on YouTube and Instagram, and I would get kind of discouraged, but I just kept going. And then the more you practice, like, the more stuff you can do. Sometimes now, even though I can like do more things than I used to, I don't even feel like it. I just want I just want something simple. Something else that really helps too when you're doing a color block is if you get really good coverage on the first dip of your glitter, on the first, when you lay your nail flat into the glitter, then your second layer of the glitter, it doesn't have to cover like the absolute entire side. So sometimes what I'll do is like right at the very bottom of my nail at the cuticle area, I won't really put much base at all, just so that it doesn't pick up much glitter and that the cuticle area stays thinner. So that's another little tip just to kind of help you. Like, these are things that I figured out over the years what work. And if you know me, I do not gatekeep at all. So I'm going to share everything that I figured out or learned over the past 5 years with you guys. Whenever I'm finishing with my clear dip powder and it's over a glitter, a flake, or a foil, I really try to make sure that the clear dip powder is soaked up so well into my nail. I like when it gets in all the what I call little nooks and crannies of the glitter, or flakes or foils. I don't want the clear dip powder to just be like sitting kind of, soaking through and not really encapsulating the entire amount of glitter. So I tend to use a little bit more clear dip powder on my glitters, especially because I want them to really be covered well so that when I file and shape and buff that none of the beautiful color is coming off. If you tried to just buff straight over glitter, what would happen is your glitter would kind of turn like a silvery, or sometimes it can turn like these weird colors. And after we just did all that work, we definitely do not want that to happen. Once you finish with your clear dip powder, make sure that you brush off any excess, that your nails don't need to be any thicker than they are, and then you can activate. And the way that I test to see if my nails are ready to file and buff like you just saw me do was I just give them a little quick tap, and if you hear a hard tapping noise, then you know that they are ready to buff and shape. When my nails are this short, I don't need to do a lot of buffing or shaping. I just kind of like smooth over the top a little bit with the buffing block, the big flexible file I use, and then I just quickly go around the shape with a hand file so that I can wipe them off with isopropyl alcohol and then jump into the top coating. One thing that I feel like I am a broken record about on all of my videos when I'm using dip liquids is follow the instructions of the dip liquids that you're using. So if you're using one brand's dip liquids, don't say, oh, well, I already know how to use dip liquids. I am just going to do what I've always done on, XYZ other brand. That doesn't always work. A lot of dip liquids have different top coating instructions. Basically, just the timing is different. So for these CN liquids that I'm using, you do the activator and on 5 nails, then you wait 60 seconds. Do the first layer of top coat in 2 to 3 quick thin strokes, and then you wait another 60 seconds to the second layer. Even now, 5 years into dipping my own nails, I still always double check the instructions on liquids just to make sure, like, okay, I didn't forget anything and mess anything up. I want those super shiny nails. Now that you can color block, come learn how to do an easy ombre with all dip liquids. Thanks for joining me today, Nail Crew.